up, everybody? This is Keenan.
And Maria.
Welcome to I Know I Can TV, every Thursday at 9 p.m., Time Warner Channel 98. A little bit about I Know I Can TV. It was designed to promote change and bring empowerment to our community, bring on community leaders and people in the community that are out there to try to help and bring change to a town that's much needed.
That's right. And it's not just in Syracuse, but it's all around.
That's right. That's right.
So, which is wonderful.
You know, join us. We'll be taking trips. We'll go everywhere. We'll take it all and
we'll be cooking foods, and we'll also just have different talents on here. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get with us.
No.
So also we have social media that we love, and we are really deeply rooted with social media.
Yeah.
So please contact us on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Maria Maldonado Lewis.
And I'm Keenan Lewis.
And we also have I Know I Can Radio/TV, which you can join us. And it'll be a lot of fun, so that way you can go on there, talk to us, tell us about topics that you want to hear about or that you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
So any of those good things, then you'll be able to do that.
Right.
Also, if there's things that are out in the community that you have videotaped, or if there's a specific segment that you're interested in helping with this show, because it's a community show, contact us on our I Know I Can radio@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's right. I Know I Can radio@gmail.com. Share your stories of ways that you've helped someone or ways that you have got through adversity or just a feel-good story, and we'll get it on either our radio program or I Know I Can TV.
That's right. So again, Maria and Keenan, and I hope you guys enjoy all of our shows, and we are so happy that we are here with you guys.
Yes, yes.
We'd like to say thank you to everyone that actually participated with our first show, which was amazing, and It's been on for the last 4 weeks, which is, I still can't believe it. Just so excited.
Why? Why can't you believe it?
Just because we just never thought about being on TV or the radio. And then when God put that in my spirits in January, it just was something that I couldn't believe that it was happening. And then when it actually came through, and everything was just falling in place for us, and you were on board, and it just, now it's just amazing because we're doing it.
I told you.
Whatever. Anyways. We would like to say again, thank you. But a big shout out to Vinny from Time Warner Cable, who has been helping us edit and learning the editing program.
Yeah.
So big shout out. Just needed to say that.
The brand new Vinny.
The brand new Vinny, yes.
Yeah.
He just got a haircut. So, you know, we're very excited to have a new person in our lives like Vinny.
Yeah.
And so,
a lot of help. Great asset.
That's right. So the first show, we actually talked about domestic violence, which was very big.
Huge.
Yes, and in October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just something good that you always want to make sure that you continue to talk about, not just during the month of, you know, awareness, but every single month, because people are going through it every single day.
That's right. And reach out to Vera House. They have a lot of great connections in regards to getting you help if you know someone that's struggling with domestic violence or a family member.
Right, exactly. So, you know, our show really touched, you know, why a person gets into domestic violence situations, how to get out of it, you know, how to just help yourself with step programs to make sure that, you know, you're doing everything possible to stay in a good place for yourself and to be able to just get in a healthier relationship.
That's right.
We also had a great travel segment. Where did we travel to?
We went to Indiana.
No, we didn't go to Indiana.
Oh, sorry. We went to Cleveland. Cleveland Indians, that's kind of where I mixed it up at, but we went to Cleveland.
Which is close to Indiana, which you will see that on this segment. Which
oh, yeah,
awesome.
That's right. We go to Indiana today, so we're about to leave right after this segment. We
exactly.
And hit the plane, go down there, you'll see us down there, we'll come back.
Yeah, so we also, with our travel segments, are just going to have fun to be able to show you things that maybe you haven't experienced, and if you'd like to travel or if you've never traveled, maybe we'll give you that experience to make you want to travel.
Yeah.
So that's the portion that we love, is the travel segment.
Right, and travel doesn't have to be, you know, far, you know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to go too far to enjoy yourself and enjoy your family and just enjoy, you know, outdoors, outside, and getting out and doing something different. So we'll be all over the place.
Exactly. And then we also were able to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So we have lots of great clips on the first show in regards to a lot of community agency information. We did a lot of interviews with agencies, and we also were able to give you some dances
Right.
and some bands that were playing as well. So it was a great, great show. So if you missed it, please go back. We also, had a great Bible scripture on that show as well. So it was absolutely awesome.
That's right.
So now with part 2, this is our second show, so it's very, very exciting. And the topics of today are going to be something that I think a lot of people will enjoy, which we're going to be talking about marriage works.
Okay.
We're going to talk about relationships.
Right.
Relationships in general, and relationships when you're a Christian as well, so that way you can know, the differences.
Right.
And then also we will be talking about 8 things that men are like and 8 things that women are like. Is that correct?
Something like that. We'll touch on 8 things that men want to, women will want to know about men. So we'll touch on those type of things.
Ooh, exciting!
So stay tuned.
So enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back. So now we're going to do a scripture of the day, and it's kind of focusing on our topic that is in relation to relationships and also marriages. So take this scripture, food for thought, hopefully you get something out of it, and put it towards, the relationship that you have, rather you're dating someone, you're courting someone, or you're married. These words can be helpful to you. So this is from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. And it says, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. So again, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, love covers a multitude of sins. So just love each other deeply,
And that's part of love thy neighbor, which is actually one of the top commandments.
Yeah,
love thy neighbor.
Absolutely. So, just love and love deeply. In that way, you can be covered for some of the things that you may not know that you do that are sins. And another one is from Ephesians, the 4th chapter, verses 2 and 3. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So again, Ephesians chapter 4, verses 2 through 3. Be humble and be gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. And again, that can go for marriages, and if you're just in a relationship in a committed relationship and you're serious about something, take these words and hopefully they can help you in your growth in your relationship.
That's right. In which, when it comes to those amazing words, it's pretty much anything.
That's right.
So if you do things the proper way, which is loving each other, your neighbors, your kids, your job, anything that you do, anything that you put yourself in, that just brings this peace and this joy that's within you, instead of taking things into a negative, humbling yourself, being able to just take something in,
right?
And not always feel like, oh, I have to tell the world what I just did, or,
right.
If I'm in love, I have to tell you why, So, it's just amazing that, the scriptures really play not just into our topics, but just in life in general.
That's right. That's right.
And so, well, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, for our Bible Scripture of the Day segment.
Right. Hope you enjoyed. All right, so this is our topic segments. We're going to talk about relationships, marriages, why you get in marriages, why we get into relationships. We're going to also speak about, just some statistics surrounding marriages and relationships. We're going to give you a whole gambit of just great information. So, stay tuned.
So in order to create conscience-love relationships, we need to understand the motives and needs which now cause us to form relationships. So we always talk about, get into the root of something. So this is getting into the root of why do we need relationships so bad.
Okay.
So we enter into relationships for the same reasons we do everything else in our lives. So because we are motivated by our needs, which we all know, if we don't need it and we don't want it, it's not part of our lives. We seek out others in order to fulfill our unfulfilled needs.
Okay.
Which is deep. You know, I mean, just that alone you can really relate, because if you ever think about a time where you have been really lonely, you know, the first thing that you're thinking of is, I wish I had someone by my side. Wish I had someone to talk to tell them how my day went, you know, so it's really on point. Alone, we feel empty and isolated.
Right.
It's kind of like that movie that Will Smith did, where he was by himself and there was nobody there. And he just was going crazy because he felt like he needed to speak to someone and he needed to be around people. And because he wasn't for a long period of time.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
I was thinking about like Wild Wild West. Wait a minute, he wasn't by himself in Wild Wild West.
No, I Am Legend.
Independence Day?
No, he was with people.
He was with aliens, man. He definitely wasn't alone.
He was still communicating with something. But this is, you know, when you're feeling empty and completely isolated.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of our older population deals with that even more than the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because they really don't have people, you know, companionship. Sometimes their mates had passed away. They never had, you know, a long life love. And sometimes their kids aren't able to be around them. So unfortunately it does happen. Yeah. We hope to complete ourselves through our relationships. There are many levels of needs and desires which we seek to satisfy in our relationships, whether with a spouse, a parent, a child, or a friend. So this is just going to talk a little bit more deeper into deep details in regards to why we're looking for these needs.
Right.
Okay. So one of our most basic needs is to feel secure. So we feel more secure and safe when we are with someone. I have heard people who fear being alone at night in a remote house admit that they actually feel safer even if there's an infant in the house, a pet in the house, just any living thing that's in the house makes them feel a little bit more secure.
Right.
Which I can completely relate, because when my son and I lived together and it was just him and I remember that I felt great when he was there. I felt safe, and even though he was a child, I don't know, I just always felt like I'm okay. But the days that he would go and visit his friends, I would be scared out of my mind in the house.
Really?
Yeah, I would always be scared.
That sounds a little familiar to me.
Yes, so I mean, it's just the way it is.
Really?
But again, you know, I just felt safer when he was around, even though I knew he couldn't do nothing for me or help me or anything like that. Right. It just was a security blanket.
I got you. So, you know, feeling the basic need is to feel secure. So a presence in the house. It doesn't matter if it's an infant baby.
Right.
It's a presence.
Right. Exactly.
So you can get a robot like.
No, I think it has to have a soul, like, because you know, like cats and dogs, like you know that they're
like another Will Smith movie, like iRobot. You can get an iRobot.
I don't think a robot counts, but you never know.
All right.
Facebook and the internet doesn't help me, so you know that's like an iRobot to me, and that doesn't make me feel any secure. Except for I can get on Facebook Live and be like, "Help! I need you," you know, and somebody's gonna come. If they know where I live. And I'll probably get in contact with them faster that way than I would a cell phone anyways, because nobody picks up their phones anymore. Yeah. So anyways.
Text back in a minute though.
Yeah, exactly. But the security also could be even if you are going somewhere. So if you're going to a work party, and you know a lot of people tend to go there with their spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, or they always have a good friend.
Right.
If a person doesn't have someone to go to these things with, then that becomes an insecure situation as well. So sometimes if you see that there's coworkers that are not showing up to your events, never know. You know, it might be because, you know, that security is not there, so they feel a little bit intimidated and not sure, you know, if they should attend.
Interesting.
It could be that way with all kinds of social events, Christmas parties, you know, it could be that way for anything that's not, you know, a family-related type of scenario.
Gotcha.
And so another reason we fear our loved ones giving attention to others is that we are programmed to believe that we can then lose our self-worth. The reasoning is that we believe we are worthy of love when there is at least one person in this world who loves only us. We feel worthy and important because this person sees us as special and loves only us. And if we suddenly, he or she also loves someone else, we start feeling a little bit intimidated.
So this goes for someone that's in a relationship that has a relationship with someone else?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So this portion of it is the security. The first one was more of the security of why we want to be in the relationship.
Right.
And then this portion of it is talking about, you know, being in that relationship and another feeling that we receive, which is, you know, feeling insecure when you are in a relationship
Right.
because of the fact that you want that person to love you so that way you can keep that security blanket around you at all times.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Which is understandable. I love having my husband with me. You are my security blanket.
Really?
Yeah, you are.
News to me?
Whatever. But you know, again, it's just that feeling of, wow, somebody loves me for me.
Right.
You know, I could be myself around you. I can call you when I need to. I can vent to you. You know, I could talk smack to you, whatever, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
you are, you know, that person. And when people kind of start taking you away, then a person starts feeling that intimidation. So that's why you see a lot of relationships
So you
have a hard
intimidated
time.
by people?
No, but that's what happens a lot of the times.
All right.
Is that
Sound like you're backpedaling a little
no,
bit
no.
now.
It's talking about, you know, what people start feeling once they're in that relationship and they have that security blanket going on.
Gotcha.
But when you see that a person is being taken away, you know, from your presence too much, then you start feeling like, am I going to lose that person? You know, so that's where the intimidation comes in. You know,
Gotcha.
is this person that loves me for me always going to be here for me or with me?
Right.
Or are they going to leave me for them? Or are they going to leave me for their friends or their family members, you know, depending on the scenario. So again, is part of the fear that one who has finally found that love feels.
Got you.
Another factor is that we associate being able to keep a mate with our self-worth. As men or women, a man feels that he loses his manliness if a woman leaves him for another. And then most women believe they lose their self-worth if their spouse shows interest in another woman.
Do you
So-
believe that to be true? And for the women part?
Yeah, definitely.
Most women believe they lose their self-worth if their spouse shows interest in another woman?
A lot of the times, from all the Facebook posts that I've seen, all the research I've done in the past, you know, you do notice that if a man says, you know, that woman looks great, you start seeing a woman kind of start saying to themselves, why? Do they look better than me? You know, do they look classier than me? You know, what is it that makes you say that about that person?
Yeah.
So, you know, it does start making you start questioning yourself when your, you know, spouse, partner, whatever, is looking at another person. And then that's back to that
Interesting.
security blanket, because it's like, are they going to leave me for that person?
Yeah.
And so, and how about yourself? What do you think about the man portion?
A man feel that he loses his manliness. If a woman leaves him for another, it's a shot to your pride, definitely. You know what I mean? You losing your manliness, though? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading that, taking that a little into context, you know what I mean?
But I mean, just what you just said, I think.
I mean,
pretty
it's a
much
shot to
talking
your
about
pride.
it.
It's a shot to your ego, definitely, man.
Right.
You feel like, somebody got the best of you because they took, the woman away that you love from them. So, you know what I mean? Definitely, it's a shot to your pride or your ego.
Right.
But loss of manliness, not at least for me, not me. You know what I mean? Not me. Nah.
But the reason that I believe that that's true is just because if you think about it, a man's going to be like, why did you choose him? You know, what was it about me that I couldn't satisfy you or that I couldn't keep you? Like, what did I not do right?
Right.
So I think, in a man's perspective, I think it goes through the same scenario
Right.
where it's just kind of like, what am I not doing right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think now more than ever, men are more, unknowingly tapped into their emotions than they probably would want to admit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As to back in the days,
Right.
Men are more of the, the type that are more attached feelings-wise and emotionally in some situations. Not in all, but more than before.
Yes, yes. Before it was, you're a man and you don't show no emotion.
Yeah, man.
If a woman leaves you, then there's more fish in the sea and all that good stuff. And now you see men crying just as much as women about their loved one.
Crocodile tears.
Exactly, which is good because we want people to show emotions.
It's all good.
Exactly.
It's all good.
So, another powerful attractive force in the formation of relationship is the need for affection, whether it's physical or sexual contact. This need is for contact, intimacy, and physical union with another being exists on so many levels. So biologically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Thus, we seek someone with whom we can share our affection, intimacy, and energy. This giving and receiving of affection and energy is based to our physical and emotional harmony. So that's pretty deep.
Yeah. It says that, the powerful attractive force in the formation of relationships is the need for affection and physical contact.
Right.
This need for contact, intimacy, and physical union with another being exits on many levels. It can exit biologically, emotionally, and mentally, as well as spiritually if you have a spiritual relationship with God. So I think that's a big one that you touched on. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a very big one.
That's right.
And it's just the fact, when you get a massage, and someone is massaging your back, you feel relaxed. When someone that you love, is stroking your hair or just, holding you. These are things that, many people long for. Because if you have,
Love you long time.
Lord. If you don't have that feeling from someone, especially someone that you love, then you start feeling that loneliness. You don't feel that, love and connection.
Gotcha.
And I know that there's some chemicals that actually go through your body when you get the touch of a loved one, which, look it up, just Google it.
What went through your body right there? Right now, instantly. Tell me, now.
Security.
Security. Okay.
That's right. I feel secure to know that you are literally right next to me. Thank you. Thank you for that feeling.
No problem.
What do you feel?
God. Yeah. We need a commercial break.
Babe, come on. That's terrible. Anyways, don't mind him. We're going to keep going. Okay, so another reason we form relationships is to recreate familiar emotional exchanges that we experience as children. So we are often subconsciously attracted to someone who will sooner or later behave like our parents, which is pretty amazing. I would say, I don't know if
that's the word you're going to use, amazing?
I mean, I personally don't see that, but that was just me. I do see that there were certain things in my parents that I would take from them, like my mom's strength and, my dad's dedication in regards to just being able to be there for the family.
Right. This says, the reason we form relationships is to recreate familiar emotional exchanges.
Right.
We are often subconsciously attracted to someone who will sooner or later behave like our parents.
Right.
So
that's scary, depending on how you grew up.
Do I behave like your pops? I mean,
not exactly yet. I would say probably at the beginning you did.
I was many different people at the beginning, so I could have been your pops at the beginning.
But my dad is an entrepreneur. He does have a really big heart.
Okay.
And so there are certain things about my dad that I would say, that is like you. In regards to my mom, my mom loves you to death. And I think that you are a lot like my mom when it comes to you just love life, you love people, you just really enjoy being the best that you can be for others. So I think that you definitely have some of the qualities of both of my parents mixed together.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And vice versa.
You notice I say nothing. I was about to just keep going. No, I can't relate to this one at all.
Really? Because I can. I mean, when your mom and I have conversations, like, we be right on point with each other. I mean, your mom is very sweet. She's
true.
very caring.
Yeah.
She likes to lay down as much as I do. She loves she loves herself as much as I do.
She'll give it to you just how you need to get it got to you.
That's right. So she's really up front.
You're right. So yeah, I guess yeah. Now that you pointed out, yeah.
You sure, or am I just making you say that?
I can see. You made me see.
That's right. Big shout out to our parents, Margarita Torres Maldonado, my dad.
Mama, I love you.
My dad, Ephraim Maldonado, and Linda Dorsey.
All right.
So we love you guys very much.
Love you.
All right, so let's keep it moving since Keenan couldn't figure out how I was like his mama. Even though I can't cook like mama, but it's all good.
It's all good in the neighborhood.
All right, so less frequently today than in the past, some still may also choose a spouse who is socially superior in order to gain prestige and power through this connection. Sometimes it's a motivator force in marriage. This is especially true in some countries of the world where women are submitted to great pressures to marry before they reach a certain age. So
yeah,
that's
I'm not a social butterfly, so I can't really relate to that one like that.
That's not really about a social butterfly, but
well, it says that the socially superior one is the one that, like it says, less frequently today than in the past, some still may also choose a spouse who is socially superior.
Yes, well,
so I'm that wouldn't be me because I'm not socially superior. I don't I'm not on Instagram.
You're not a king. I understand that.
Twitter and king, what does that mean?
Yeah, socially in this aspect, it's not talking about social media. So
I mean, you got to put it with socially.
No. So, anyways, what this is discussing is back in the days they used to have arranged marriages.
Right.
So arranged marriages always dealt with how a person was looked at in regards to being superior. So with the arranged marriages, they would arrange these marriages due to one person being a king and wanted to make sure that their daughter was set for the future. So they would have that arranged marriage just so that way they can continue on their legacy.
Right.
So that's what this is more referring to.
I don't think so, but it's good. That was a good story you just shared. I'm just reading the words right here. This is talking about modern times, but for the sake of marriage working, we're going to agree with you.
Sure.
All right.
Anyways, if you have your own opinions, just let us know at iknowICanRadio@gmail.com. How about that?
Yeah.
So we're not always going to agree, but we're going to agree to disagree.
I agree.
All right, so next. Two people may decide to form a relationship because of common interests, which is something that happens very often.
Yeah.
The common interest could be a child. It can be that you both are business-minded entrepreneurs and you just feel like, we can make this happen. This can be a great connection.
Yeah.
And again, it can just be anything that has to deal with, the parents wanting you guys to get married because you guys grew up together. It could be anything that's common.
Yeah.
The next one is a primary force in bringing people together in marriages is the subconscious or conscious desire to create and care for children. Through children, we manifest our continuation. So continuing your legacy of your last name as a man, is that important to you?
Honestly, that wasn't my thought process growing up and things like that. So, for me personally, it wasn't, you know what I mean? I just was more just living life. I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't thinking about it.
But is it important now that you have a son and living the legacy?
It's important. It's important now because it happened, it manifested. But if it didn't, that wouldn't have been my my focus. Like I gotta carry on the Lewis, the Lewis name. You know what I mean? That wasn't really my motivation. So
for the marriage.
Right, for our marriage?
Right,
definitely.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Wow, we had both agreed, so that way the listeners or watchers could understand that we both agreed that we were not having any more children, that we were actually going to get married out of love. So, you know, part of this portion, you know, it talks about, you know, the primary force is bringing the families together in marriage. And yes, in the Bible and the scripture, it does say, you know, to continue to, you know, carry on your legacy, you know, to be fruitful and multiply. So it's always a great thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we met each other when we were a little older. So, you know, it was a little different.
Just a little bit.
The next one is, we are also attracted to someone because he or she embodies qualities which we admire or which supplement our personalities. So kind of like the opposites attract.
Yeah,
so
definitely opposite attracts. You know, way to look at it, definitely.
Opposites attract, okay, thank you for that. Anyways, as we know, opposites attract in certain ways.
Right.
So we don't want it to be so opposite that the beliefs and our values are different.
Right.
You know, to me, with opposites attract, you know, if I'm shy, I would like for you to be a little bit more outgoing.
Right.
You know, if I don't like to cook, I would love for you to cook. You know, and vice versa. Certain things that are opposites, I think, are good. But there's certain things that are opposites that are not. And again, it goes back to, are you so opposite of me that we cannot communicate, that we can't be happy together because we are on totally different pages of what we're trying to do in this relationship or be like in this relationship. So when you hear opposites attract, you know, be careful because there is a limitation to that.
It is. It is. It's like that. It's like that Paula Abdul song. Remember when she was with the,
with the cat?
With the alley cat, cartoon cat. They was opposite, but they attracted somehow, and they made it work. So, you know,
that's right.
YouTube it.
You know some of the words?
I used to know the rap, the little rap that cat did.
I used to know it too.
I knew like.
You don't remember it?
2 bars from it. No, I don't remember.
We're gonna try to put it in the clip, so hopefully you'll be able to see it.
YouTube, opposites attract.
That's right. I miss Paula Abdul.
She misses you too.
I know she does.
She told me the other day.
I bet she did. So in regards to the qualities that we admire, I admire just the way that you carry yourself. So I just think that it's, you know, very great that you can be just so different around other people, so but still be yourself. So in other words, you can go to work and be in a suit. You know, we can go out to the community and you have your jeans on and, you know, you're just comfortable in your skin.
I am.
So.
Good skin I'm in.
Love the skin you're in. Oh, see? Jinx, 1, 2, 3. No, just kidding.
We never said nothing alike but skin. That was the only word we said. You didn't even say it on time. That's how Jinx works.
I know, I was just messing around.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we'll continue on. This is how we are, so just in case. We like to just let people know that we're just doofballs. We're very doofy, and we enjoy just loving this thing.
Please.
Okay, so anyways, another factor which some might feel has played a role in their coming together is that fate or destiny. We may feel that we were supposed to be together.
Serendipity. You ever seen that movie?
No, but I have heard of it before.
Check it out.
All right, so that's another place that you can check out. So these intense feelings seldom remain in the strength that we first felt. This infatuation will then need to evolve into pure love, respect, and admiration. Relationships that are based only on the factors without some higher evolutionary spiritual goal are likely to be developed more into conflicts, numbers of conflicts. So again, even though someone can say, oh, I just feel like we were meant to be, you know, you won't be able to build on a relationship just off of that emotion and that feeling.
Right.
Because, you know, we do go through stages, and some of the stages is that puppy love, you know.
Right.
I just love you, you are the best, and everything about you, you know, and that happens for a few months. But and then after that puppy love fades, you know, what do you have? You know, have you built on a relationship? Have you built on communication and strength and love, you know, and that purity?
Yeah.
The love we feel when we are attracted to someone whose presence makes us feel secure, affirmed, or satisfy, in many cases, actually be loved with the conditions that others will remain that way forever and continue to give us what we need. All of these motives are based on our need to fulfill some needs through the other. They are also based on the fact that we feel empty and need the other in order to feel secure, self-affirmed, or happy. The other's presence in our lives complete us. This is something extremely vital for us, and we have not yet learned to complete ourselves. So we have to be very careful in regards to getting into a relationship without knowing yourself first.
That's right.
And if you're a Christian, you know, you have to make sure that you know God and love God and yourself first before you can love someone else.
Right. I mean, it's like, how can you be with someone and tell them about, you know, where their shortcomings are, or some of the things you don't like about them, but you don't fully know yourself or understand yourself. How can you be a help to anybody else? So get to know yourself primarily first. Become happy with the likes and dislikes, and if that's the way that you are, then, you know, stay true to that. You know, don't let another person come in and change your values and your beliefs if that's something you hold true to. So, you know, those are just words you want to take with you as it relates to getting to know people, getting in relationships, jumping in, even jumping into marriages, because we see that more and more often nowadays, where people know a person a few months and they decide to just get married. So, you know, really get to know the person that's across from you, but more so, get to know yourself first.
That's right. So being, you know, having your self-worth and self-understanding is just so important, because like Keenan said, you know, you want to know your likes before you get into a relationship. You know, you want to know your dislikes. You don't want to just conform just because someone else, you know, likes certain things. So only because, you know, Keenan might like playing pool, don't mean that I'm going to say, oh, I hated pool, but now I'm going to like it just because you like it. You know, I'm going to eat where you want to eat. You know, and it's kind of like Coming to America, you know, when he was supposed to get married and he's like, what do you like? Whatever you like.
Whatever you like.
That's right. And, you know, she was absolutely beautiful, but it's not something that's going to keep you in a relationship. So you have to learn to love yourself before anything. So that's the first portion of our relationship segment, and we will continue on with relationship segments as a Christian woman.
All right.
And man.
All right. Woman. All right. So now we're going to talk about relationships and marriages and even dating from a godly perspective, or on a godly level. We just touched on it in regards to being in relationships, some things that, you know, will hold us back, even if we're with someone or if we're even married to someone, some of the barriers that get in the way sometimes in regards to being in a relationship or being married. So now we're going to touch on relationships and marriages from a godly perspective.
That's right.
All right.
So do you want to have God at the center of your relationship or dating relationship? Would you like God to influence the love you show another person? And here's some advice that can help you pursue God's will when you're dating, which is very important, especially for our youth. You know, because if you're in church, you know, you grew up in a church, or, you know, just your parents are in church now and now you're a teenager, young adult, you want to know these type of things. So very, very important.
Very important.
So some of the things from the last segment, you know, in regards to the feelings and all that stuff, you know, was really great, because that's for everyone, you know, and this is for everyone as well. But if you're really deeply rooted, you know, into trying to just have that relationship with God, this is some of the things that are going to be important. So first you have to remember that God's love is the ultimate. God's love is ultimate. So it's number one. Our God is a jealous God. And that is with us, you know, with us being in other relationships and us in general. So knowing the love God has for you means that you do not have to seek fulfillment in how anyone makes you feel. Whether it's weakness of human love, the most perfect love comes from God, and it's always yours.
That's right.
So that's always very important. So it's going back to love yourself and knowing that God absolutely loves you just the way you are.
That's right.
And that's how someone needs to love you. Make sure you are strong in your loving relationship with God. This means knowing that He is always there to help you along the way. Trust Him. Make God the most important in your life, and make Him the love of your life first.
That's right.
So that's always very important, especially when you're courting someone and you're trying to be in a relationship to eventually be married.
That's right.
So our pastor, Eric Brian Yor, always tells us, to make sure that we know God before we get into a relationship.
That's right.
So that's how you make God first.
That's right.
And you do that by reading the Bible, going to church, having that one-on-one time with God.
Yeah.
So know the ideal match for you. So date someone that you would consider marrying. So choose a person that has a similar desire for God, one that will build you up in faith. If you are already in a relationship, positively encourage one another in pursuing God.
That's a pretty big one. You see, a person in a relationship or even in a marriage to some extent, and one has a connection or a relationship with God and goes to church and has that relationship, and then the other doesn't. And in a sense, we're kind of holding the other's partner relationship or the spouse back because we're not encouraging them to come join in and get some of this good stuff that God has to offer for us. So
right.
Encourage that person. If if that person is you, then encourage yourself to step out with your mate and support and build your family to be stronger by attending church.
That's right. So a family that prays together, stays together, has always been a big saying. And just knowing that,
right.
If you are in separate churches, or if one person goes to church and the other person doesn't, you are finding, that place that can interrupt, and something negative can interrupt that scenario just
right.
because you're not together. You're not covering, your husband's not covering you, your boyfriend's not covering you. So, you just want to make sure that, you're trying to do things together.
Right. And then in regards to also, dating and getting to know someone, date someone that you would consider marrying. Why
right.
waste your time with someone that you don't see yourself with in the next couple of years, you know what I mean? Or
exactly.
down the road. It's not too early to think like that, you know what I mean? Because
right.
you don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste anybody else's time. And you don't want to have a headache that you can't get rid of. So,
right.
Try to deal with people that you see yourself being with, long term.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why, the looks shouldn't be first priority.
Right.
The money or the job or, what that person scenario looks like. That is just more of a money or, a greed scenario. It
Right.
shouldn't be participating in your choice. Your choice should be, how do you communicate with that person? What's that family like? Where's that person's heart? Where are they in that relationship with God?
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Absolutely.
So there's some things that, we put on here, which is very important. So the first thing that you want to do is, again, when you're considering that person that you want to court or date, try to go to their parents first to let them know that you're interested in courting them or dating them. Especially if you're a male, you want to go to dad and mom and just say, I'm really interested in dating this person.
Yeah.
Now, your daughter.
Yeah.
It's just a respect thing. You want to be able to be respectful. Just like in marriage, being able to ask the parents for their hand in marriage for their daughter, so you just always want to be mindful of the respectful things that you want to do in a relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
So the first thing you want to do is pray about dating in your relationship. So give everything over to God. Let God know that you are asking for His approval. Talk to God about the problems that arise. Thank Him for the opportunities to be in a relationship and the happy times you've experienced. You can also pray with your boyfriend or girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
And so I think that's really very mature first. And you don't really see that very often now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't really raised in the churches like they used to at one time, where you really were in church as often as possible. But it's always very good to know that if a person is willing to sit and pray with you, then you will build that communication bond and that continued heart bond with you and God.
Yeah, and it also will filter out all the, the people that aren't serious. You know what I mean? About you and about your walk with God. You know what I mean? Because they'll head for the hills if they see you praying. You know what I mean? If they aren't on your level. So,
exactly.
That'll also just weed out a lot of the people that aren't there for your best interest. They're just there for selfish reasons.
Exactly.
That's right.
And those are the people that you want to kind of stay away from. You don't want to get yourself caught up being with someone that's really not there for your interest, but more for theirs.
Right.
And especially, if you're a person that's just so deep into God, you can't be with someone who doesn't even know God or don't want to know God, because then they're going to start taking you away from who you are. So you got to be very careful with that. It doesn't mean that the person can't eventually love God. If a person does want to be in a relationship with you and they don't know God, and it's just because, life didn't get them to know God, they didn't have that childhood upbringing in church and things like that, it doesn't mean that they can't, but these are some of the things that they'll have to do with you, so that way they can show that they are interested in knowing God.
I got you.
So read the Bible. Keeping God's word in your heart helps you to remember the love and promises that God has for you. Try reading the Bible together. It is fun, it's spiritual, and good for conversation. Different verses will help you along the way in your relationship.
That's right.
So, again, a lot of people that have not had a chance to, get into Bible study and into reading the scriptures, they might not know some of these great stories in the Bible, that now you guys can conversate about and you can talk about. And it's just, it would be amazing to be able to have that interested conversation if you're both able to talk about the stories in the Bible.
That's true. That's very true.
So very, very important.
All right. So what do you got next? Be careful.
Yes, be careful.
Physical affection.
That's right. That's right. That's always, that's always the tough one, because again, like we talked about with the first relationship segment, we want that affection, we want that love, we want people to look at us and just be like, you're my only one, I love you, you're it, and it's just a beautiful, fairy tale story, which a lot of people talk about all the time. It's just, you see these great stories of Prince Charming coming to rescue you and, live happily ever after. And we need a new book. And it's called Happily Ever After If You Let It Be. Just being very careful in regards to what your happily ever after can look like depending on the decisions that you make.
That's right. That's right.
So again, be careful with physical affection. Hugs are great. So it's nice to hug. God created physical affection to be good, but be careful in how much physical permission you give one another. So a relationship can easily turn sinful if physical bonding occurs too quickly. Everyone is different, but if you feel guilty for an action that you have taken, it may be good indication that you are going way too far. And you always want to be careful with how far you take things, because one wrong move and you can end up having a child before you get married. You can end up getting yourself into a situation where you feel like that affection has to go further and further, and then you're not building a relationship with that person anymore. Now you're building a physical relationship with that person, and the communication portion of it tends to go out the window a lot of the times once that affection starts coming in, when it comes to being physically, together.
Yeah, and to speak to this one right here specifically, it's more in relation to the physical permission you give one another. So know when the time is right, and know when your partner, you have that connection. It shouldn't be a forceful thing. The partner shouldn't feel like they are just giving to just because that's the way you want it. It should be a mutual type of understanding and respect. So be careful with the signs of the physical affection that you give and that you receive from your partner.
That's right. So anything that just doesn't feel right, it's not right. So if you get an instinct saying something is going too far, something is wrong, learn to say no. Because I've heard from many teenagers throughout the years, that a lot of them ended up going into that physical relationship with someone just because they didn't know how to say no at the moment. because they didn't want to feel like they were letting that person down or making them feel like, you know, they didn't care enough about them to go that further step. And so you don't want to go that further step, you know, until you're in a marriage. And so when it comes to loving God, God is expecting you to wait until you get married to be able to go to that further step. So again, avoid physical actions that might cause lustful thoughts, such as sitting on someone's lap, laying on each other, kissing, and massages. So those are all the things that can get you to a state of mind where you might end up going a little too far.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, just knowing how far to take things is just so important.
Be careful with your physical affection.
That's right. I mean, we've seen stories, and you know, you work at ACR Health, and I'm sure you've heard many stories of a one-time deal where someone caught something like HIV, or someone ended up catching an STD, you know, getting themselves pregnant. I mean, it really only takes one time.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, one wrong move and you can get yourself into a life full of, you know, issues that you have to deal with for the rest of your life.
That's right.
And that goes for men and for women.
Right.
So show Christ's love to each other, make sacrifices to each other, watch a chick flick, go to a basketball game, be willing to serve one another, put one another above yourselves, find how to love each other, use the love God has shown you to bring it to your boyfriend or to your girlfriend is very, very important.
Yeah.
There's a book that's 101 ways to be able to share intimacy without actually being intimate.
Welcome back. Now it's time for us to give you a little bit of marriage advice, even relationship advice, when it relates to, you know, things you want to do to make your relationship stronger and to make it last a long time, if that's what you're into. For the ones that are, you know, getting to know someone to that point of dating and you know, moving forward, into those people that are married specifically. This one is for, so this is some happy marriage advice. And again, you can take this if you're single, you know, and married, or just in, you know, a relationship. So I got this from the Huffington Post. I like to go to Huffington Post a lot for some great articles. So just, you know, go to Huffington Post whenever you can. You read great articles in relation to health, current events, political things, whatever you want to do, whatever fits your fancy. All right. So it's no secret that marriage takes work. After all, we're only human. And human makes mistakes, have a bad days, and sometimes even forget to load the dishwasher. Nevertheless, some couples are able to foster happy, healthy, totally awesome marriages that actually do last a lifetime. How does this happen, you might ask? Okay. Okay. So a Reddit thread emerged this past Sunday asking the happily hitched to reveal their secrets to marital success. So this is a survey took by the people.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I mean? And this is what they had to say. These are some of the things married couples give that's been successful in marriage and long-lasting advice and things you can take to make your marriage better.
Okay.
So number one, be nice. Be nice.
That's simple.
All right.
Just be nice, right?
The end. No, you know, be nice. Choose kindness whenever you can. You should be at least as nice to your spouse as you would a stranger, or you were when you started dating. So, you know, just be nice, you know, treat people like you want to be treated, you know what I mean? And it sounds very simple and it sounds like it's easy to do, but it's a challenge for people in relationships to really say kind words to the person they go to sleep with every night. You know what I mean?
Right.
So be nice. Just start there and start by being nice. Number two, enjoy each other's company. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
You know, we speak about this. We talk about this a lot. You have spouses that just do not have the same interests as as each other. You know what I mean? Which, you know, that's not a terrible thing. But, you know, as a married couple, you want to try to tap into the things that your spouse enjoys to do. Show some interest to it. So, you know, and that's in relations to enjoying each other's company. You know, and this one says, my wife and I are each other's best friends. We like each other's company. We like having fun. We like doing stuff together. We are honest and direct with one another. And in relations to the best friend thing, speaking to a pastor, we have our fellowships, and we're reading this book right now called Disciples of a Godly Man. And the man having a best friend piece of the wife as a best friend is a little different. And it should be for women too. So, I'm kind of on the fence about that one, because you want to be able to confide to a trusting man if you're a man. Because a man that's married, just like you, can share those type of that type of feedback that you wouldn't share with your spouse, with your wife. So, and that goes for women too. You want to have a trusting person that you can confide into. But in regards to you guys being best friends, absolutely, have that best friend bond, have that best friend relationship. But you also still, men and women, just need that one person that you can trust and be able to talk to about some of them hardships and those struggles that you may go through at times. And lastly, no marriage is perfect, and that's okay. All right. Understand that nothing is perfect forever. There are going to be disagreements. All right. There will be times when your partner says or does something that hurts you. The happy relationships will talk about it and work through it. All right? The happy relationships will talk about and work through it. The bad relationships will let it stew until it becomes an even bigger problem. Right. So, and that's another thing. If you got a problem, be transparent, be up in front and squash it immediately. Don't let it sit there and fester and build up. And 6 months later, you still upset about the fact that he left the juice can out. You know what I mean? Like, if you got an issue, squash it right there, because it only, creates a bigger problem if you just sit on it and just let it fester and you keep getting upset about it, and that person doesn't even know that you upset about something.
Right. And choose your battles. What's important and what's not important, because you don't want to sit here and fight with your spouse about all the little things that really don't make a difference. Sometimes people get into arguments and fights about things that they don't even remember what they were arguing or fighting about. Right. You have to ask yourself, what is that important that if my spouse left today and didn't come back, will I regret the words that I've said? And you want to not regret anything that you say to your spouse. You don't want to go to bed angry, because you never know. I mean, life is short and not everyone is promised tomorrow.
That's right. Welcome back, guys. So now we're going to do our travel segment. We're going to travel all the way to Indiana, close to Chicago, on our way to Chicago over the summer. We stayed in a nice casino, and we checked out the dock that was right by the casino. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. So we're here in East Chicago, Indiana, home to the East Chicagoans. What? The East Chicagoans, and we're crossing through on this road trip to Chicago. We had a great chance to stay at America's.
I know I can. I know I can.
Okay.